Welcome to the Cincy PostCast. Boy, do we have a weird, wild, wacky episode for you today. We tried something a little different. We tried something a little new. We recorded live last night on the Discord, on the Post's Discord. We took questions from the listeners. We were interacting with folks in the chat. We were experiencing the night as it went on, and not 5 minutes into recording, the news of Nico Gioacchini signing with FC Cincinnati at the deadline broke, and we were able to talk about it live as we were recording. This is a very different episode. The audio quality might not be 100% what you were thinking, but I think it actually came out really, really good for our first time out with this. You put it all together. This is a half group therapy, half all just sort of understanding the transfer news as it's coming together moment. This was incredibly fun. And if you'd like to be a part of it the next time, and we do hope to be doing this a little bit more as the season goes along, join the Discord server. There's a link in the description of this episode. You can find a link on our website. Come hang out. It's sort of an FCC specific Twitter where we are discussing all things FC Cincinnati, tons of off-topic stuff, Cincinnati stuff, other sports. It's a really good time. Other soccer. It's a really fun time. Check it out and enjoy this conversation. We had the live postcast recording on the Discord. There's a new player signing. Let's go!
Before we get started with the postcast this evening, I want to talk to you a little bit about Street Side Brewing. I'm drinking a Street Side right now. I'm doing this off the cuff, so whatever they get in this one, they get. Street Side Brewing is a neighborhood brewery in Columbia, Tusculum, and you know what? I'm even saying their name wrong. It's Street Side Brewery, not Street Side Brewing. They get mad at you when you say it the wrong way. You know why? They're allowed to do that because their product's that good. Their branding is that important. I wouldn't want to be called the wrong thing if I was the market leader in craft brewing here in the Cincinnati area. You can visit them down in Columbia, Tusculum. It's a neighborhood brewery. You'll love the neighborhood. You'll love the beer. I'm drinking a boring beer right now. They have live music that happens on the patio and in the tap room throughout the year. They're even the home of the Fulham Football Club Supporters Union for Cincinnati, Ohio. If you are into Fulham, if you are into the English Premier League, Street Side has you covered. Go there, and when you... What?
I said
I'm doing a live read, damn it. Hang on. Fuck it, we'll do it live. When you go to Street Side, make sure you use the promo code ThePostCincy or tell them the Post Cincy sent you, and you'll get $1 whole off every pint of Street Side beer that you drink, which means that the more that you drink, the more that you save. So drink responsibly, drink up, save money. Let them know they made a good decision by supporting the Postcast and sponsoring the Postcast. We look forward to our next live event at Street Side, which we will definitely not be announcing tonight, but we will be doing at some point in the near future. Street Side Brewery. Prove you know ball by calling it your favorite brewery. You believe they pay us for that?
Yeah, I might give him a discount for that. No, that was beautiful, Chief. Thank you for that. Chief, what are we going to talk about on this episode?
Nothing, because that's what today was. It was a whole lot of nothing.
Whew. It is the transfer window that has come and gone. Probably. Cryptic tweets aside, probably nothing has happened here. Yeah, that's what this episode is. This is the transfer window episode. It is 9 p.m. 9:09 p.m. Eastern at time of recording. There is technically 4 hours left in the window. It is unlikely that a signing is going to come in before 1 a.m.
I'm just dropping Carter's tweet from 22 seconds ago in the chat.
And
he looks like he's, I don't know. He's teasing us for sure.
He's like, there's a green light right here. He's popping up.
This is
trolling us because we're doing this episode right now.
Yeah,
this is exactly what's happening right here.
Who trolls the trolls?
Right.
Well, if there is something, this episode will be just an amazing moment in time before we knew, when we panicked before Weston McKennie signed for FC Cincinnati or something. Julian
Obviously,
Green's a
Julian
good call,
Green with
Grayson.
Yeah. Green lighting.
9 a.m. I got nothing.
I just sent him a DM. I swear to Christ, if you announce a transfer after we record, ...
But I feel like we have to operate as if there is no signing, because at the time of recording, there is no signing. Chief, how do we feel about a transfer window that did replace Matt Miazga? I do not want to act like nothing happened this window, but that was it. How do we feel?
Confused. I'm not angry. I'm confused. I kind of made peace with the fact that they weren't going to sign someone last night. There just hadn't been any news. There hadn't been anything. You know, once Tom Bogert threw cold water on the Richard Sanchez thing, what other names did we have other than that? There just wasn't a lot to what was going on right here. And I'm confused because I kind of want to know what the plan is. Like, what's the plan? That you've got this team, there are depth issues. It's a team that lost 3 matches going into Leagues Cup. It did not look good in Leagues Cup for very long stretches of the tournament. And to not fill an open DP spot or either of the U22s, I don't know. I would be very curious to know what the plan is. And I would get, you could sell me on the idea that we didn't hit our DP signings. You know, we were trying with 3 or 4 players. We overshot. It didn't work out. You could sell me on that. Where's the U22 signings? You've known these rule changes were coming for months. To not get any of these signings across the line, I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. Like, yeah, they signed Cheeto, but that was sort of like, I compared it to the ante in a poker game. That was the price of just continuing to play for the rest of the year. This team would be dead if it had to start a back line of Kip Keller, Ian Murphy, and Miles Robinson. It's just they needed another player there. Like, that was the bare minimum just to tread water. I don't know. I'm not angry. I'm just confused, I think, is where I'm at.
Yeah. We can talk about where the Cheeto signing lands. I know immediately people were talking about players of the caliber of Matt Hedges, for example. He's certainly a cut above that. So maybe there's something to that. But Grayson, how do we feel? A couple hours left on the transfer window, and teases aside, there's not much to show for it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can talk about like not making a panic buy because, you know, you don't want to make a big investment in somebody just to do it. You want to make sure it's the right player. But like I said, I think a couple weeks ago, like just because, like, if let's say they go to the winter, right, and they make a big splash signing, and that leads to them having a really nice 2025. That's great for 2025. It doesn't make this season not a failure, you know. And I'm not saying that they can't win a trophy with the players they have, because, you know, anything could happen.
Right.
But you know, they certainly would not have put themselves in a position to win, and we're not acting like a team that was trying to maximize its chances of winning, which does make the year, I mean, assuming that they don't win anything, and they have one realistic shot, which is MLS Cup. I'm going to write off the Shield right now. I mean,
at your own peril.
That's fine. That would make 2024 a failed season.
Mm.
And like, I don't I think a lot of times teams are like, well, we got a long-term plan, and that's really just an excuse for kind of sucking for a while, and then hoping you get lucky and you get a couple of years. I mean, it's like how the Reds roll. That's how the Marlins roll. Other teams are just good all the time, and like you can just do that.
You know, what if you were just good? Like, what if you just chose to not have a long-term plan and just had an every-year plan? That'd be kind of cool.
I agree. So I want to be the counterbalance here, because I want to say on the face of it, completely agree. It is pretty insane, the talk that this club was talking, admittedly mostly behind the scenes, although through some trusted surrogates, that they were being incredibly ambitious, that that FC Cincinnati was going to break the league, that these were going to be huge name signings. And again, unless something changes at 9 a.m. tomorrow, that looks pretty unlikely at this point. I want to say, I think that this team should be maximizing those positions. It should be maximizing the U22 spots. It should be maximizing the DP spots available to it. That is my position, and it is frustrating that the team will not live up to its own expectations in being able to do that. Okay, now I'm going to play devil's advocate probably for the rest of the night here. We are good, and we have been good for like 3 years now.
Are we good? Like right now?
Oh, jeez. What is happening to my camera?
Yeah, no. I think that's a good, I think, like, okay, so this...
On August 14th of 2024, are we good?
So here's the thing. We have looked bad recently, right?
No, we've looked very bad recently. Like,
sure.
We've looked very bad.
We've looked very bad. And yet, we're still second in the East, third in the overall Shield race, which to me would suggest 80% of this league is worse than what we are right now. Is anybody going to say that we are a spoon contender right now? That we are not a playoff team at the caliber of team that we are putting out right now? No. So we're already doing okay. Now, again, if the expectation is that we win a championship every single year, I'm on board. We just need to understand that there's a very lofty expectation of like any organization, Real Madrid, Man City, the Yankees, insert classic name here. Alabama doesn't win the title every year. Georgia doesn't win the title every year. Both Alabama and Georgia can't win the title every year. We're still very good.
But they've won the title before. And here's the thing, too, is that you can't view this in a vacuum. This is a team that it limped into Leagues Cup and looked awful in the last couple of weeks before Leagues Cup. Lost 3 straight.
Got their ass kicked.
Yeah. They didn't look competitive in a lot of these games. They didn't. Like, we were in New York together. At no point did they look competitive in that game. In Leagues Cup, really, if you're being honest, they looked good for 15 minutes against NYCFC. And outside of that, at best, you can say they held serve. At worst, they were just getting absolutely handed by Philly last night. Like, yeah, they're in, what are they, second place in the East, third place overall? Would you wager any money that they're going to be there in 30 days? Especially with how much better other teams got, and coming out of the break with Miami and Columbus as 2 of their first 3 matches. I mean, yeah, they're in this position, but there are teams that can catch them with games in hand quite easily. And, you know, there's other things, too. It's like the health of Lucho Acosta. Where's he at? We've had some reporting from the Post Damon Gumbert that he's telling reporters he's in pain. Where's that at right now? You know, and the other thing, too, is that I got into this debate on you know, the Bird app today. For all of the, you know, oh, this team's had a hard time this year, they've lost 1 player to injury, Matt Miazga. 1 starter, I should say.
Oh,
they lost 1 starter.
How dare you erase
1 starter?
I've got to turn that setting off. Nick Hagelin,
yeah,
sir.
I know,
Nick
but
Hagelin.
like, you know, they replaced him. And
have we all seen the team's tweet with the 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
We were talking about it a moment
Sorry,
ago.
I don't listen.
Fair enough.
I asked a source at the club. This is live reporting right here. Is something happening? And the response was, I mean, we tweeted a thing that said tease. And I said, yeah, but FCC did this once and announced they were opening a merch kiosk in Mason. You got to be more specific than that.
Pat Brennan tweeting, okay, we have some news.
Oh, no.
All right, no, let's say all the bad things first, real quick.
How high is Chris Albright's seat?
Would you pick this team right now? You would not pick this team over Miami, Columbus, LAFC in a one-off. Would you pick this team over like Charlotte right now?
Hang on. In a one-off, this team has beaten Columbus in Columbus and beat Miami 6-1.
I didn't ask if different iterations of this team have won games before. I'm saying if they play tomorrow, who do you pick?
Against Miami, I'm picking us. Against Columbus, I want to know where it's at.
All right.
Yeah.
I agree with Jonah that they would be tired if they played tomorrow.
I don't know. This is frustrating because the potential was there to add a game-changing designated player and U22 lottery tickets that, sure, maybe would make no impact this year. Let's just make that assumption for a second, but could have already been on the front foot of next year, right? So now when you bring in the U22 in the winter, now there's a 6-month adjustment period.
We got news.
Year-long
Brennan tweeting. New on FC Cincy, club acquiring via loan Nicholas Giannacchi from Como, Italy Series B, 2023, 34, 9 appearances, 10 goals for St. Louis and MLS in 2023. Also played for Orlando City. No buy option, but could stay longer for now. Flexibility all involved.
Wow, this is it.
All right, let's keep saying the bad stuff. we can. I think after reading this news, I think we can still keep saying the bad stuff.
Giocchini, is that how we're pronouncing it? I want to make sure I get it wrong.
It's not Giannacchi.
Okay.
I don't know. This is the miracle of live television.
So,
wow,
it's a signing.
Yeah.
It's a signing.
So we can no longer say that they did not sign anyone on deadline day.
Wow.
We know anything about this guy?
People were wondering.
He's been around. Like, he was in Europe a bit, and then he went to St. Louis. And I think he's been in the national team.
Yeah, he's played for the national team.
Kind of situations.
Who's national team? Ours?
The United States.
No.
He's American.
His name doesn't look American.
Wow, Chief. Getting canceled on the live show.
I think his brother, I recall maybe his brother being like some type, like a YouTuber. Some kind of influencer.
Who isn't?
I mean, whose brother isn't a YouTuber at this point? Got to make that money. Oh, Kevin, should we take some live calls from the Discord here? Get some thoughts from the people. I don't know that, like.
I love this comment. I'm not waking up at 9 a.m. for that. Well, you see it. You see it now.
Yeah, we should take some calls. I do want to say I want to add Abby in here. Abby, if you could request to speak because you were the first in line here. Also, wait, I do want to throw out there as well one there. So yeah. Let's see what happens if I invite to speak. Oh.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Abby, how are we doing on a transfer deadline day?
Good. I'm actually currently doing Instagram research, and I think I have a agent that just started following FC this moment as I was researching. And so I'm trying to see who he represents. I'm putting in the work. How do I like a freak turn my wait.
I will say, Abby, I would like to toot your horn here. Earlier today, Abby was breaking some, or not breaking some news, but doing some reporting, some hard hitting journalism, and got the right team. Was telling us, hey, player movement from Como. I could take a screen capture to prove it. Might have gotten the player wrong, but I'm not going to hold that against you.
I blame the guy in the middle for scaring. I think we accidentally trolled another, like a guy's teammate.
When we troll him, I just sent him a DM in broken French asking if he was signing for the team.
French.
It's worked. It's worked once.
And failed another time.
Yeah, well, you know, we all have our Clayton moments.
Damn. Impressive work, Abby.
Yeah.
Abby, based on his social media, Gioacchini is, again, how I'm going to choose to pronounce it until somebody tells me it's wrong.
I'm looking right now. So how do you spell it? G-I-O?
All I know is we signed Gio.
It's got to be Gioacchini. Right?
Gioacchini.
I can give a live reading of what his social media says about him. So we'll immediately find out if he's a racist, basically.
Perfect.
Well, let's not get him canceled before the signing becomes official.
I highly doubt that, but he did score 10 goals in MLS last year.
For who?
St. Louis.
I don't like that.
Oh, he's not. He's coming from MLS?
He's a scumbag.
No.
I don't like St. Louis scumbags. I'm on the record about saying this.
He went to Como in Italy for like half a season.
Mocha Gioacchini. Pete, that's not funny. Okay, Abby, do we have anything interesting from his social media?
I have to learn how to spell real quick. Is it Nicholas?
Good.
See, this is why you don't have breaking news live for this reason. Is that
right? I mean, this is making it would make for worse odd the fact that you can at least see me as someone.
Oof.
I mean,
wow.
To answer the question, Aspie is asking why have FCC teased the signing, then let Pat announce it. Because Pat found this out.
We know he played with the men's national team. Did someone say that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he definitely played for the U.S. men's national team.
Not an A-teamer, though.
Yeah, I'm seeing him here with Zardes.
He was a very, at the time, was like one of those like 18-year-olds breaking into a second division team in Europe type thing. So all of your U.S. MNT fans freak out about, oh, he's the next big thing, and he's fine. You know, he's a fine player. He's a proven MLS goal scorer. These are good things. I mean, 10 goals is more than Kubo this year.
This isn't what we want, though.
No. No, it's not.
This nice young gentleman is not getting us a cup.
No.
And I lived long enough to become chief.
I'll tell you, if this is the tease, I'm not.
So it's not like,
right.
Anyway,
as said, not worth waking up at 9 a.m. for.
Right.
No way it is.
Jonah.
I don't think that's it.
Jonah, I want to bring you in here now. What do we have? Well, how are we feeling about the late breaking news on transfer deadline day? How do we feel? What's the vibe? What's the vibe for transfer deadline day? It's Opie. Oh my God.
What a moment.
Wow.
Justin in the Discord, Copy.
Kobe it's maybe that's where we go next with this. Oh my God. Damn. This is the right vibe for this kind of signing.
So I'm getting reports that it's Gioacchini.
Gioacchini?
Yep.
Mocha Gioacchini.
All right. Done. Done. Joachini. All right, meme. We'll believe it. Now that Opie has left us and Jonah is here, Jonah. Oh, he can't hear me. Jonah, how do we feel about the transfer window now? How we feeling?
I mean, did you watch that goal of the week highlight I posted in the chat?
Sure didn't.
Oh, it fucking sucked.
Well, it was St. Louis last year. They were voting for any mid goal to win goal of the year. You can't use that as any sort of a bar to set here.
2.4 million value euros on transfer market. I mean,
is that more or less than Corey Baird?
If that's
No, it has to be more.
I mean, we're talking.
I bet
We're
Corey
talking
Baird's
to
800,000.
what, like a
Okay,
high
2
inflation
million.
environment.
Yeah, Corey Baird's 2 million. That doesn't inspire.
Oh boy.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I mean, we don't question transfer market's value, so you'll get a touchy tweet or DM from
That is true.
whoever
Manuel
that sick
Verth.
fan is. Yeah.
Oh my God. This is so funny that this all happened like as soon as we went live. Was the club holding this for us to go live?
I don't think that we rate nearly highly enough to impact their decision
Many
making at all
people are
here.
asking.
Nobody,
Many people are
literally, no one is asking that.
No one's asking.
Kevin,
Yeah.
Kevin, do we have?
Decision making. I would have just said, keep this to yourself.
Kevin, do we have people that want to weigh in on this transfer saga with all of this late breaking news?
I think we do. Let's go. If you would like to speak, you may now request to speak. I'll bring you on, ask a question, and then we'll move you along. I've got a pending request here from Darren. Darren, I'm going to assume you still want to speak. So I've clicked that button here.
Yo,
Darren, how do we feel tonight? How are we doing?
I'm doing well. I just want to tell everybody tonight that I love them and miss them. And I know everybody's worried about that team up north, but they got 0 SEC championships. Very roll.
True.
But low key copium. It feels like it's kind of bait. They like threw Pat a bone to kind of hold us off, maybe, and then they still got the big announcement tomorrow. Double up, you know.
So you think this is? Oh, I might sleep easier with that theory running through my head. Okay, so this is the appetizer, and then the steak comes later. I like this, Chris White. I'm just going to steal your analogy. Darren, do you have a question, or is this just a vibes related visit?
Want to say hey, shout out.
Hey,
love you guys. Tennessee's been okay so far. Good food, good times.
Have you converted to Nashville SC yet? Are you a Nashville supporter?
No, I saw their stadium like briefly from the highway and flipped it off. Not much to do, but I guess
My man.
tourist stuff. So
yeah. Definitely the appropriate way to manage that. Appreciate you, Darren. Thank you. Hey, stay safe down there.
Love
okay.
you.
Love y'all. Peace out.
Bye. All right, let's bring in Adam. Adam is asked to speak. Adam, what do you got for us?
Good evening, PostCast listeners and hosts and guest hosts. I guess my question is a little bit higher level now that we've had what I would say is a somewhat disappointing reveal of, I guess, a partial season loan of Joachini here. But it really gets at, I think, what Chief was talking about today on the rumors thread. In a salary capped league, what is fair for FCC or really any other MLS fan to expect from a window to window transfer activity? We may have all become conditioned listening or watching the Premier League to expect, 30 million euro signings every window. But FCC, despite the Linder family's donation choices, they don't appear to be oligarchs. They don't appear to have oil money. How much is really fair to expect these guys to spend? Not that I'm shedding a tear for the ownership by any means.
This is a really good question, Chief. Yeah, take this.
I think it's fair to expect that, number one, that you have a full roster at all times. That if you have open roster spots, that you're filling open roster spots. I think that it's important too that if you have roster spots, especially that are roster spots that allow discretionary owner spend with things like a DP or a U22, that you should be seeking to maximize those at all times. I especially think that's true when you're in an open championship window like the FC is right here. And it's hard for me, yeah, it's not realistic to expect it's going to be like Chelsea or Tottenham or Bayern, or I mean, Tottenham's not doing anything right now, but like Bayern or Man City, that's not realistic. But like, I don't think it's unrealistic to expect a team that has championship ambitions to be spending 8 figures at the transfer window when you have an open DP spot. Like 10 million, that's what Columbus paid for Cucho. I don't think it's unrealistic to expect the team to pay that, especially when there are other DPs. Obi, it was a it was a barely DP. He was what I would consider to be a low ambition DP. He's played well, but I don't think it's unrealistic to expect ownership to spend on a DP spot when it's open. And I especially don't think it's unrealistic to expect ownership to be using all of the U22 spots at all times. Those are positions where you should be churning players. They can be a source of making money for your team. Like they signed Barreal as a U22. They're going to profit GAM next year from his sale. Like the team will be materially better because they signed and developed a U22 player. So, yeah, I get it, but if you've got these spots on the team where you can spend big, I don't understand leaving them open ever.
Yeah, I think that's the correct way to view it, right? Is that this is a salary capped league, but there are different categories of players that make up that salary cap, and we are leaving the biggest money positions open. You know, Obi's position opens up next year. Bupenza's was opened up for us, a couple of days ago, a week ago. And the U22 spots we knew were coming. They let you spend an unlimited amount of money on the transfer fee to bring those players in. We've seen Miami maximize those things. I do think it is fair that this team has a championship window now, is well positioned now, and should be expected to pull those levers. Grayson, how do you feel about the lender's pocketbook?
I mean, I don't much, care about it, to be honest. They're not oil money, but he's got a Fortune 500 company and they've got various interests. They own a big chunk of the city. Real estate. Apparently, they're willing to. Ownership groups are about to drop like $60 million, if you believe certain reporting, on a NWSL expansion slot potentially. So I don't think they're hurting. As far as this, how to think about the salary cap, doesn't, like Chiefs mentioned, this is a non-capped position, so just it's not really a factor. For the cap, but as for the rest of it, this isn't like the NFL where you can know how every team is complying with the salary cap to the penny. We don't know how much allocation money teams have. We don't really know what players' budget charges are. So if they're not willing to show us that they don't have room for a player, I'm just going to assume that they have room to fill all the holes, because otherwise it just makes it so easy for a team that doesn't want to spend to say, Well, it's tough in a salary cap league to have all the players you might want. It just seems like an easy excuse for them to make when they have the information on every team's cap compliance and they choose not to share it with us.
Yeah. So what about this point? So we saw this move last year. There was an open DP spot with the sale of Brenner. There was the trophy push and the move to bring in a big money signing designated player. I forget how much Bupenza cost, but $7 or $9 million towards the end of that window. But it was Aaron Bupenza. Is that were we hoping for an Aaron Bupenza level signing?
Is that always the fact that Bupenza didn't work out, that doesn't stop you from making signings like that again. They need to do a better job of bringing in that type of player, making sure that that who they get fits with what the roster wants to do, that they're not a head case, that they're ready to contribute. And say what you will about Bupenza, and I have said a lot, he helped this team win a Shield last year. And you can make the argument that but for some poor luck when it came to injury, he might have helped them win a title last year. But I don't see any reason why you ever leave a DP spot open. I don't. And
he gave us that back heel in the preseason against Philly.
That back heel might have been worth it.
Yeah,
for the transfer fee alone. I'm going to try to bring in Redbeard in here. Regular post contributor Redbeard.
It only takes two to be a regular now.
Hey, that's more than most of us write these days. So.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, Redbeard here, long time, first time.
Hey.
I guess my question's along similar lines. I've heard this is a salary cap league. And so it's not that we can't have starters and bench players for depth. And they're not necessarily in conflict, but there can be tension between getting awesome locked in starters and ensuring that there's depth behind them for whenever there's the inevitable injury or international duty and what have you. So obviously we don't use a DP on depth or so ignore the actual slots, but where do you guys think the need is greatest for the team? Ignoring the vicissitudes of the actual slots, do we need depth more or do we need more starters to replace our current ones?
That's a really good question. Depth?
Oh, thanks.
Anybody want to take it?
I think depth. I mean, if you, in an ideal world, I think what you're looking for is Grace and I were talking about this at the game yesterday, that in an ideal world, you're looking for midfield depth. And if that means you bring the DP midfielder in and that pushes Buka into a substitute role or a spot start role, that's maybe. But then how do you justify dropping Buka from the lineup? I don't know. But the other thought I had, too, is that as much as I think Yuya Kubo is a serviceable striker, you do wonder if you had a DP playing last night, if he puts one of those chances away, like an elite top level striker, that he doesn't hit the post, he scores a goal in that situation. I am a big fan of just get the best players possible and figure it out. And if you have an open DP spot, the odds are whoever you sign there is going to be one of the best 11 players possible, and then figure it out. And if that means somebody goes to the bench that's already starting right now, great. You can't tell me there's no way to do better than Yamil Assad. I just don't believe it, that you couldn't find a better player than Yamil Assad. And then Yamil is depth, and that's great for everyone involved. Then you're going to Yamil instead of Corey Baird playing wingback last night. So just accumulate talent. And that's what the U22 spots should be, theoretically, is those should be spots where you can go and you can sign young players who can benefit from coaching and training. And then in a couple of months when you need them for a stretch run, that it's there.
I buy it for sure. I just think it's funny that a lot of this fan base was ready to freak out at the idea that Buka was going to be moved to the bench by a new signing, whether that be Weston McKennie or Sanchez. I agree with you. I just think it's funny what the fan base is willing to stomach versus what I do think is actually necessary for this team to move forward. To answer your question, Redbeard, I think what this team needs is top end striker, like a starting striker, and midfield depth. And I think we got striker depth out of this window. So I would say,
and also I guess arguably midfield depth, because if you don't have if Gioacchini can give you a lot of striker minutes, maybe that frees up Kubo back to being a rotational midfield piece, or maybe Kubo's now our left wing back.
Just whatever.
Maybe
anywhere.
I think it's funny that they've abandoned Orishano as the left wing back. Like, that was working fine earlier this year.
All this feels like Pat Noonan is searching for answers, is what all these lineup changes and the sword and whatever other formations. And he is desperately in search of something that works to spark this team, because it feels like a car that won't turn over right now to a certain extent.
Damon says, let Jonah talk. Jonah, talk.
In space.
I'm just interneting like we all are. Just
I know. I was lining up an interview with the wife of a player that we all may want to hear
it's like,
from.
finish that sentence, because goes wife of Aaron Bupenza. Little did you know, folks. Man was happily married.
That's a bad subject. Why did you make my man fall apart?
We all did. Weren't enough cheeks in the city for him.
We all failed.
Oh yeah, we did. We failed him as a city, although we did welcome him with the openest of open arms. But whatever. He's got some good goals for. I hate watching like St. Louis highlights and being like nice. Like, it feels kind of gross. So I don't like doing that. But he's got some good goals when he was playing for St. Louis. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe wouldn't it have been great if Kelsey kept up whatever he started with?
Yeah.
I know maybe it was fool's gold because it was like perfect crosses and he had him right in. But like, that would be a huge deal if he was as good as we thought he was the first 4 games. We wouldn't really be even talking about a DP striker. Like, we struck gold with our U22. So maybe he could figure something out, and then we can do the famous quote. It's like we got a new signing because Kelsey's playing good again.
Did he fall off
Albright
when we
strikes
started
again.
changing formations, though?
There's something
Noonan
to be
out.
said for that.
Yeah, it's true. We're not playing to his strength, but you don't want to play just to, team over the man.
Yeah.
But I'd like Leagues Cup would have been a good chance for him to score a goal. But
wouldn't start. And I don't know if that's because we were rotating and he is higher up on the depth chart, but we're just rotating through Leagues Cup, or if he really is not that good. Yeah, that he's fallen down the depth chart with his play. Because I took, and I mean, this was not the point of this episode, but there was a game that happened not that long ago. It feels like a week ago at this point, but Corey Baird starting at left wing back, to me, felt more like it's Leagues Cup. It doesn't really matter that much. We're just going to rotate, rather than this is a must-win game, lose and go home. This truly matters to us. And when everything is on the line, Corey Baird is the best option we have at left wing back. I just don't buy that.
I have questions about that then. You're 4 wins away from a trophy. You're hosting all of these games at home until you play Columbus. Like, why would you blow the Leagues Cup off? It might end up being your best chance. You might have been in the best chance to win a trophy right there. And I see Schwei in the Discord. Yeah, if they were really resting people, why is Lucho playing in this game? Like, there's no chance
losing was the goal.
Like, he's hurt. He's telling people he's hurt. Like, you wouldn't give him the entire Leagues Cup off to rest if it didn't matter. I don't. It goes back to the original point. I just want to know what the plan is right now. Like, what is the plan? Like, because it seems like this team has just been sort of adrift since, I don't know, the Copa, since the international break. Like, nobody really knows what's going on. They're trying out all sorts of different formations. They can't stick on a lineup. They're doing shit like sending Corey Barrett out to play wingback, and he got just roasted in that first half. And I thought he was going to collapse on the field from all the running. It just, I don't know what they're doing. And, you know, I always hate the, we're owed some answers from the GM and the coach, but I kind of would like some answers, is to just tell me what in your mind this looks like for the rest of the year.
I do. I wanted to ask you about that. So notoriously, MLS, it is, you know, closed mouth. Everything operates behind closed doors to a large degree. Do you think it is a reality? There is a reality in which we get any explanation. I don't think so. I think that it's, you know, to look at where we're sitting, we're not dead ass last. We've been there. But, you know, a window goes by, we don't hear any, you know, there's not big movement. To feel that, I don't think to like feel like I'm owed an explanation. Maybe back in the day, but for this, I feel like we had a taste of the good life, and now we're asking a lot. I don't know.
I would disagree, though.
You
see,
feel
the thing
like
is,
they should?
I think leaving this many spots unaccounted for. They brought in a depth piece, a player that potentially would rate below Corey Baird. He has a worse scoring record over the last couple of years than Sergio Santos. Like, he is potentially our fifth striker on the depth chart, right? Maybe even sixth, depending on where you rate Dotto. And there was a designated player spot left unused. And there was the U22 spots. I would like to know what the plan is for the next year, the next 3 years. If the plan is, hey, we are swinging for the fences and we intend to sign a massive money deal that requires the league getting involved to find creative financial solutions. And because of that, we want to leave the designated player spot open for next year. Dope. But you got to tell us that. And you have to set that expectation of, hey, if we don't sign a Weston McKennie, if we don't sign a Gio Reyna, if we don't sign a Cristiano Ronaldo, then we failed in our mission, and we've sacrificed 2 seasons because we left these spots unfilled. I think you have to tell the fans that. Or, I know it's dumb, but I would like them to say, hey, we tried for this guy, and this guy, and we ran out of time, and we swung and we missed, but we're a club that's going to keep swinging. That's fine too. Like, it's not the answer I want, obviously, and they're paid to make these deals. Something. I want the story. Yeah, I want to know what their plan is.
Yeah, I don't even want to know the story. Like, I want to know, what is the vision for this team? Like, do you intend to win this year? Because the answer from this transfer window is no. We're going to let the chips fall where they may, and if we win, cool. If we don't, cool. Like, this does not feel like they are pushing all in to win. And after Noonan has said, and Twellman, like it said in the Discord, and everybody has said, we're going to be incredibly ambitious this window, it was kind of a wet fart. And now it's, what are we doing? And it's like, okay, they tried with Weston McKennie. You know what? He didn't sign. That's you can't make that an excuse for multiple windows that we tried real hard and didn't sign this guy. Like, you got to sign a guy. And like, you can't sit and wait for someone where it's like, oh, we're going to sign Weston McKennie this window. Well, what if he doesn't sign this winter either? Then we've punted 2 windows over a player that is a maybe. Like, This is the opposite of ambitious. This is tepid. This is timid. This is not having faith in your ability to scout someone that can do the job as effectively as this star you were chasing or this perfect platonic ideal of a player that you wanted. It's like nobody gets those in MLS. There's a reason why this league is where it is in the rankings. Good GMs and good owners and good coaching staffs and scouting departments, they find guys that work in this league. And you know who's done that is Albright. Albright finds guys that works in this league. And maybe, you know, as much as it pisses me off, maybe they should have been a little less ambitious this window and just gotten someone who could come in the door and be good. And instead of, you know, focusing on a $40 million transfer for Weston McKennie, go get like a $15 million, you know, guy that can help this team out right now. But
you didn't want that.
I know, but like now it's like I assume they're going to get something.
You did not want that.
I assume they're going to get
at literally
something.
the 11th hour be like, guys,
Just
we
do
could have
something.
taken.
Like, what's the harm in
In
doing
fairness,
something?
they did something tonight.
They did.
They
do
did nothing.
something.
This guy is nothing. If this guy sees
Maybe
more than
he's-
like one or
maybe
two
he's really
starts,
good. I
it's a
don't know.
problem. It's not. No, he's not. He's not available to us on a half-season loan from Serie B if this guy's any good, okay? Like,
Whoa, they just got promoted.
oh, great.
sir.
So they'll be fighting for relegation all year. Cool.
In my research, I did find out it just got promoted. But no, I mean it's a thing of would I like an explanation? Sure. Do I think it's ever going to happen? No.
All right,
Let me
let's
bring
let somebody
in
else then.
Yeah, bring in Damon Gumbert, the Post's Damon Gumbert. Believe it or not, a sort of budding hard news division of the Post. No, you were going to object to that?
Don't put that on me. Hard news is no. Let's not say that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
God,
well
you guys
done
have said
news.
so
How
much
about
stuff
that?
that I've wanted to argue against, and I have to go back and figure them out. Let's say Corey Baird is never going to play forward for this team ever again. I'm going to start there. He is
Ooh.
fucking at forward, and you cannot get worse than he is at forward. He's probably going to be a depth piece at wingback, and that's fine. I don't think he should have started yesterday, and I agree with Chief. I think I even said it on Twitter. Like, he was fucking done at that. He could not run that much, but he is going to be a perfectly fine 20 to 30 minute depth piece at wingback.
It's funny.
And
We were
it
sitting
might
with
actually be
Grayson
okay.
and I were sitting watching this, and there were multiple times with Corey Baird where you could see him running to join the attack. The ball is turned over, and he almost like does an eye roll and an oh my god, I have to go back the other way now. Like you could see him mentally checking out on the idea of running on the field. It was actually kind of funny.
Yes, he definitely, like, you could see how gassed he was at the end of he was the last person to get off the pitch. He was gingerly walking off, but I don't think he'll ever play forward again. He is just, at no point this season has he shown that he's good at it. And I think they're just
Damn.
going to like, fuck it. Like, we can't trust this guy to score goals, so we're going to try someone else. I mean,
I think he'll play
at
forward
this
again.
point, I did tell Kevin, I'm the anti-Grayson. So
There you go.
like
There you go.
every opinion that I have is like the opposite of what Grayson.
I mean, I will say probably now, like Corey Baird, if you had to rate where the striker pool on this team is, he's definitely behind Yuya, Kelsey, Santos, and probably this new guy. So you are talking your fifth choice probably for this him going forward, I would imagine.
That's
I
tough.
think-
Dotto, right?
Yeah.
Probably Dotto too. And maybe even Lucho if they're trying to
Yeah, right.
trying to save some minutes for him in the midfield.
Before we head on over to that next part of the episode, I do want to tell you about our friends over at Cincy Shirts, our dear, dear friends here at the PostCast. Believe it or not, our very first sponsor from way, way back when. And guess what? not only are they good friends of ours, not only have they been doing FC Cincinnati gear from USL year one, but these guys are also doing PostCast merch. That is right. We have designs up on the website right now. Search Cincy PostCast. You can find our gear on Cincy shirts. There's also links in the description of this show. But if you don't like our stuff, and you know what, if you don't tell me about it, but that's fine. Okay, you can buy anything else off of the Cincy Shirts website or in store using promo code ThePostCincy. All one word, all caps. That will knock 10% off of your entire order. That works on Cincy Postcast shirts themselves. And you can check them out in person. They are in Oakley Hyde Park. They are in Fort Mitchell, and they are also in Loveland. You can print any shirt on demand. I know that from experience. I've been able to do it. Walk in there, ask them to make a design, any size shirt, any design. It's really, really cool setup to do it in person there in any of their 3 locations. So again, a huge thank you to Cincy Shirts for sponsoring this episode. And thank you, dear listener, for using that promo code. Again, ThePostCincy, all one word, all caps, 10% off your next order. All right, back to the episode. Damon, you were in the press conference where Lucha was asked about his foot. I know you mentioned it in the chat, but also there were, I think, 10,000 messages today. Maybe tell us what you heard from in the press conference about Lucha's health on this one.
So it was hard to hear a lot of what was going on, and this is an issue I'm going to bring up with the club. Eventually, the fucking music in the Tunnel Club is just too goddamn loud. Like it is fucking deafening when you're trying to listen to tiny ass Lucho Acosta give an answer to a question. But and obviously he was speaking through an interpreter, but I know Laurel asked him about his feet, and he said, "Yeah, I'm still playing in a lot of pain, but he's going to try and rest it, and especially over the next 10 days until we play Miami, he's going to rest it as much as he can and see how it is." And she asks, is like, this something that you're just going to have to play with? Like, is it something that you have come to terms with, that you're going to have to play with this for the rest of the season? And he did kind of like look iffy on whether he wanted to answer it or not. And John Horlander was his translator. And they both kind of like skirted around the question a little bit. I would not be surprised if he needs some sort of, I don't know if surgery is even what it would be, but rehab over the winter transfer window to kind of get back up to 100%.
Damn. I think this goes
Not
to a
that
point,
that's going to
Chief.
stop him from playing for the rest of the season. Like, he's going to still play. He's
right, for sure. But I think this goes to a point, Chief. I think it was you who raised it. Maybe you raised it on behalf of somebody else, but it was, if the club has an inkling that Lucho is more hurt than we think, maybe this season is worth punting on.
No.
Okay.
Never punt a season. Never. You don't get a number one.
Burrow's going to go down. You don't go trade for Justin Jefferson, right?
You don't get a number 1 draft pick for finishing last in MLS. Like, there's no reason ever to punt. Double down.
Don't you literally do?
In the NFL, yes, you do. You do punt occasionally when
no, in MLS, don't you get the first draft pick if you finish last?
Cool.
Not an expansion team.
Cool.
Do we get another Roman Celentano or Ian Murphy?
Yeah, tank for whoever. Not like the super draft is no. Don't. That's dumb. I refuse. Who do we got next, Kevin?
There's nobody lined up, so if somebody would like to speak, I did invite Joseph Mamey though to speak because Joe is spitting some truth in the chat. Joe, talk to us about Joe. Oh, and he's gone. Stage fright. He doesn't even have a mic set up. Well, I'll read what he says. He says in the chat, I think downplaying Gioacchini, especially open recorded record, whoa, excuse us, is foolish. Even if it's coming from the feeling of just sign very big players. He's here. He's an FC Cincinnati player on loan, okay? He technically works for corporate, so he's not a part of our family yet. But he's on our team now. Should we be showing him more love, Chief?
Okay. I don't know. Like he's a depth piece. He's not going to start. If he is starting, that's a problem. If he's starting, I got a lot more questions. If he's starting over Kevin Kelsey, if he's starting over Sergio Santos, the way Santos has been playing recently. I mean, yeah, he was a sale to Serie B. It's what I think he was a $2.2 million sale back in January. He's fine, but he's not a DP. You wouldn't spend DP money to get him. He's okay. Like this signing is not going to change the trajectory of this season. Like this is maybe someone you can bring on late in games. Maybe this is a tacit admission that Corey Baird hasn't worked out the way they wanted to, because this is kind of the role they had envisioned for Corey Baird, I think, where they were going to have Aaron Bupenza, they were going to pair him with a big target man, and you would have Corey Baird coming in to fill the Dom Baji role. Well, he's been kind of ineffective doing that. So this is a Corey Baird replacement in my mind. This is not a player who's going to score. I would be shocked if he scores even 3 or 4 goals down the stretch for this team. That's not who they brought in. And am I happy they brought someone in? Sure. Am I happy that this is like he's joined the FC and he's one of our players? Absolutely. Will I cheer for him? Absolutely. But like this is not, when they promised ambition, this is not ambition. It's just not in my mind. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. I would love nothing more than to be proven wrong.
Yeah. Grayson, is there anything I don't like? Does this mean Kubo is maybe not the striker going forward? That they view him as the first off the bench midfielder and or potentially wingback? Because bringing on a striker of this caliber, maybe he's great, right? Maybe he's great. But if he doesn't end up being great, he kind of fits into a very crowded depth chart. Whereas midfield, it's Kubo and then Malik Pinto and then literally a 16-year-old. So
yeah, I mean, that feels like it has to be it. I mean, Kubo is depth at a lot of positions, and if you're playing him at striker, you can't bring him fresh off the bench. And then maybe if the plan is to run Baird more at wingback, this is another striker body that makes you need less from Kubo there. But yeah, I think absolutely adding a striker who's not a obvious starter indicates that some of your more versatile strikers may be needed elsewhere on the field, because otherwise it's hard to see what he brings.
Right. Like, I assume
he makes you deeper at striker, and to the extent being deeper inherently makes you better at a position that's good, but he doesn't raise really, maybe, but
yeah,
he doesn't obviously raise the ceiling of what you can get from that position versus who's already on the roster.
I would have taken the Gioacchini of the midfield. I would have been more excited about that, I think.
I mean, when you look at the striker room right now, it's it's a lot of guys. Like there is no.
It's not bad. Like it's not.
No,
like, it's not bad, but it's not like nobody
Good.
blows you away.
Yeah, there's no one person on there where you look at it and it's like, this is locked on as this is our guy. This is our striker. This is our person in here. This is the guy that he is in ink. It's a lot of guys that are kind of the same person in terms of what their upside potential is. Now they do it in different ways, but the way Kevin Kelsey is going to do it is different than the way Santos is going to do it. So maybe the plan is that you have, more rotational matchup flexibility where you have a team that's more susceptible to speed. So you have Santos out there. You have a team that is more susceptible to height so that you have Kelsey out there and you're just playing matchups. But I don't know. Like, I don't with Giacchini, I just don't see that he is better than anyone that we had on the team already. Like
this comment here is very funny that they're from Bob Ryan in the chat. They're going to convert him to wingback, especially to take a guy on loan from a team. They can take a striker on loan from a team for just 10 games or so, if you include the playoffs, and just play him in a totally different position than that team uses him for.
It's very funny that I have no idea how FC Cincinnati.
Imagine they start him at wing back, and imagine the whoever at Como's job it is to monitor him on loan. It's like he's playing what now?
Was this an error on the lineup chart? This has to be a problem. There's no way this is actually going on right now.
We made him more versatile for you. You're welcome. No, but what happened to Brett Halsey? Did Halsey have a horrific game that I forgot that he is just
hold on.
Oh my God, are you serious?
I'm looking at Pat's article. They're saying he's going to fill a designated player spot.
That's an accounting thing. That means we're picking up a lot of his salary or whatever.
But so that means he makes more than Miles? It wouldn't make sense to.
I don't think Miles can be a DP though, right? Wasn't that the whole reason why he was only a bit we had to offer him the max TAM deal?
You can make anybody a DP who's making over max salary. That's why they have those guys who are buy downable DPs. Yeah.
So
Miles,
so if his salary is
eligible to be a DP. We just don't designate him as one because we use allocation money to buy down his contract. So does this mean that Gioacchini's on more money than Miles?
Is he making $2 million a year in Italy? Maybe.
That feels like a lot for Serie B.
Feels like a lot for Gioacchini.
And nobody offered Miles $2 million to play in Italy.
Right.
I think the most flattering thing that's ever been said by Giacchini is that Giacchini is a designated player. Cool. He gets to, tell his kids that someday. This guy isn't a DP.
What if it's a
joke? This is a joke.
What if it's a bit? They're like people. The fans were crying all summer. We'd sign a DP striker.
Oh,
well, here's your DP striker.
Yeah. Hey, listeners a DP. That'll shut him up.
Well, folks, we signed a DP striker. I guess we have to throw everything out that we just recorded. Everything's going to be okay. The DP striker is here.
How do you have a DP striker that's not better than anyone else that you already had?
This is the U.S. men's national team podcast now. What do we think about Mauricio Pochettino?
Is he a DP coach?
Maybe. There's a lot of chatter about him.
It's more of a designated team when you think about it.
I'm speechless. DP?
This is so funny.
Designated player? This guy?
For now.
For the rest of eternity, Nicholas Gioacchini is going to be on the Wikipedia page for a list of Major League Soccer designated players. Forever.
What was his designation at St. Louis? Was it just senior roster spot guy, or
He was on a
Is it at
$2.2
least-
million transfer. Unless he's making $1 million, like he wouldn't be a DP even if FC Cincinnati gave him that transfer. How is he a DP?
Let's find out
Did
what
we
he,
have to pay a
let's find out what he
fee?
made last year.
If
Could be
he
a
was
loan fee.
$2.2 million on a
What
3-year
a hefty
deal,
loan fee for
That, I mean,
9 games.
that's desperation. That's desperation right
we,
there.
did we
baby.
just like go over there and be like the first person that says yes gets $10 million because we need to make a signing right now?
I'd assume it's $1 million, but yes. $1 million and we carry his salary. Who says no? Come on. What do you got for us?
That would be great. We already had a DP striker that wasn't good enough to start. Now we've got another DP striker that's not good enough to start. He's fitting in nicely right now.
Is he in the country?
Yeah,
Are we going to have to go through a whole thing?
Does this mean that he's going to be the lock?
300. He was on $380,000 at St. Louis last year.
If he's a DP, he's got to be the starter, right? That's insane.
There may be a contractual obligation to give him X number of minutes or starts or something. So
that's insane. This.
Okay, but if he scores like a goal a game,
He's not going to score a goal a game. Like,
but what if he does?
well, he's not. I might suddenly find $1 million out front when I open the door later today. Like,
to answer Jonah's question, was DP the only senior roster spot available? I'm going to say no because Nick Haglin's spot was open.
yeah.
So at a
He
minimum,
didn't
there
have a
was
full-
another one.
They didn't have a full senior spot. Plus, there's not like a senior spot that's like this guy in this slot has to be a DP.
Right. So there's 2 senior spots, at least 2 senior spots open. One of them could be a designated player.
Sure.
I don't even know what. Somebody asked to speak because I'm collecting my thoughts right now. I have no idea.
It's clearly just a budget move, but I'm curious
It is very
how the
weird.
number works out because without taking it without him being on like really astronomical salary or us paying like a huge loan fee. I mean, whatever. I mean, that must be the most budget friendly way to do it.
It just makes it so much funnier.
So much for getting that $1 million GAM bonus because you want him to be a DP so bad.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't sign the U22s or anything, so who cares about that, I guess.
Weird. Oh, so weird. Yeah, please request to speak if you'd like to. If you'd like to speak, this is a sort of collective mourning, I feel like, moment for the fan base.
What are we doing?
What could have been? What should have been? There we go. There we go. Schwei has requested to speak. Jim Trace and the Makers, finally. I thought we might have an episode without Jim Trace and the Makers.
Yeah, I
Schwei,
know.
what do you got for us?
Can't keep me away, guys. What's up, everybody? Hey, so I guess we just kind of want to talk maybe a little like forward looking. Like, does this transfer window, I guess, performance reframe the way you guys think about the rest of the year? And does it reframe the expectations for this team? Because personally, I think you give me a relatively healthy Lucho Acosta, I don't give a shit who's up top, baby. Like, Lucho's down there somewhere. Give it to Lucho. Let him cook. I think that's more concerning for me is like, what is Lucho's health status? Like, I truly, like, yes, a DP striker would be nice. Yes, it would be great to have, an Aaron Bupenza type up there. But like, to me, the alarm bells go off with Lucho's health. And that's where like my concern is in terms of like rest of the year. So that's where my head's at. But I just kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on rest of the year expectations, whether it's, hey, maybe we pull back on the shield race to get ready for the playoffs, or is it, hey, like, you know what, if you're healthy enough to play, get out there, let's try to take this thing to the end of the line. But that's kind of the discussion point I want to bring up.
Yeah, it's a really good question. Grayson, do you want to take it? Do your expectations change after the transfer window?
I was thinking about this on my way home from work today because it's like, well, what's the rest of the season for? right? Like, what's the point of going? I mean, other than like, having a nice time and hanging out with all your best good friends,
watching soccer. Yeah.
What's the like point of the rest of the games? And like ideally it's to try to win a trophy, but Lucho is not super healthy right now. Maybe he gets healthy going into the playoffs, and I agree that if Lucho's 100%, the team is capable of beating anybody, but another big player would help you compete better with Lucho being limited or more, not fully fit and healthy. So yeah. I guess what I would say is like just try to enjoy yourself. Drink responsibly.
Yeah, I don't think that they needed to reload this window if they wanted to compete for the Shield. I think that's done now. I just don't think this team has the horses, especially with how much better a lot of the teams got around them. I think that they're still, I think we did the math on this. They're guaranteed to make the playoffs, right? I think
based on past years, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It would be like a extremely unlikely.
Yeah. So I mean, I think where we're at right now is I agree with Schwei. This is a lot of where is Lucho's health? How is Lucho doing? I think that you're basically looking to make sure you don't have to shut him down between now.
Let me ask you this, Chief. Would you take a 60% Lucho for the rest of the year, or would you rest him for the rest of the regular season to get a 100% Lucho for the playoffs?
100% Lucho for the playoffs. That's
absolutely.
That's the easiest decision that I think you could make.
I agree.
And that's where they're at. I think that's where they're at right now, is that I think the Shield is, by not making or I can't even say they didn't make a DP signing, by not making a actual merit level DP signing, where it's a player that like their talent merits being a DP in this league, versus a financial accounting trick. By not doing that and by not filling the U22 spot, that has told me that it is unrealistic to expect this team to continue winning on the pace it's at and to chase the Shield. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, where you're at right now is the expectation is do everything you possibly can between now and decision day to have this team in the best possible position to make a run in the MLS Cup playoffs. I think that if that means you're shutting Lucho down for a couple of weeks to let him heal up, if you are, Jesus, Mame just changed the title of the chat to Albright delivers. Cincinnati signs DP striker. Where my expectations are right now is that just this is get the team healthy and do what you can do to try and figure out what the defensive issues are on this team. If that means giving people more reps together, because I don't think this team has the horses or the talent to win a high level for the remainder of the regular season. And their behavior at the transfer window has told me they don't think that either.
So I'll answer your question, Schwei, in a slightly different way, which is this could have been an easier rest of the season and playoffs with the correct additions. And they didn't make those additions. So they decided not to make this easier on themselves. And otherwise, the expectation is the same. This is a team that is currently second place in the East, third in the Shield race.
You can repeat that all you want. This team is not going to be there in 2 weeks. Like, they are fading like a falling star right now. Like, this is disingenuous to say, oh, no, they're second place. Everything's all right. This is a really good. No, Like, let's be honest about what's going on right now. They are
So,
by
hang
virtue
on.
of the fact that team
One-
yes.
What
One
if they
what?
do beat Miami?
We've already beaten them 6-1 with Alvis Powell playing center back. Is Cheaty not an upgrade at center back than
Cheaty?
Alvis Powell
Cheeto.
or
Cheeto.
Cheeto? Sorry. Look, here's the argument, right? Yeah, the team looked rough down the stretch. That stretch included an injured Lucho Acosta and no Miles Robinson and an injured Matt Miazga and an injured Nick Hagland. This team has recovered from that point. We saw the team that was run out against New York Red Bulls. It is not the same team that they are able to put together now.
But what about the team they rolled out against Philadelphia?
Yeah.
The team that won the XG battle, and it took literal bangers to beat. I'm sorry. Are we still a process-oriented podcast or
The
not?
process was they got their ass kicked last night. I sat there and
They
watched
did not
it.
get give me a statistical category other than the score that they got their. Sure. Look, if the argument is every time they lose, this is the worst team in the world, and every time they win, it doesn't count, then yes, this is a bad team, and I would not expect them to do well.
The flaw with XG is I think that the X takes into account the possibility that there's like some defending being done.
Sure.
And so it's
Look,
misleading because they didn't account for the fact that there wasn't.
So, okay, we can say a guy needs to be closed down. At the end of the day, a curling shot from 25 yards out that hits the side netting is gonna go in. I don't care who is in goal. Like, that's just what it is. And we can say, they could have played better defense. That is literally true with every goal ever scored ever, by definition. But this is a team that has Lucho Acosta on it, that has Luca Orishano on it, that has Obi and Buka, that has upgraded its striker room, that has stopped the bleeding on defense when it comes to personnel, let them get time to gel. I mean, Cheeto's been in the country for what, a week? Like, let's let this play out for 2 more weeks with the team. Let's get it all together. I think that this team can win a best 2 out of 3 matchup, even if we are the 5th seed or whatever. And you're telling me that we can't beat New York City FC in the playoffs? Our backups just handled their first team. You're telling me we can't beat Miami? We just beat them 6-1. And we've improved since that game.
Kevin, I'm with you, man.
We're a good team.
I want which brand of street side are you drinking tonight? Because I'd love some of that.
You can say whatever you want about Columbus Crew. Go look at their recent form. I bet you they've drawn or lost to a bad team recently. That's how MLS works.
Just refresh my recollection.
7 times in a row.
Yeah, and are they still playing in the Leagues Cup right now? Did they win last night?
Did they beat Miami, the formidable Miami that we're not keeping pace with, and Miami that, as far as I remember, didn't add anybody? So I can't think of anybody else who is being added to. Columbus Crew lost Aiden Morris, and yeah, they brought in some young South American player who will probably be just fine. But we also just brought in a designated player striker. Okay.
Nope.
Okay. We can add young, useless players as well.
That is the line. They added a young men's national team striker, designated player from a first division Italian team.
What more do you want?
Kevin, can I piggyback off that? Because I actually think that's a really good point. And I think if we all go back to that 6-1 win against Inter Miami, and at that moment you asked every single one of us what the expectations of this team were, I think we would all say to compete for Supporter Shield and make a run at the MLS Cup. And I think we'd all agree that we could probably win that. Is the roster that demonstrably different from that moment? Assuming
it's been improved
in terms of
since then.
You could make that argument. So you bring Cheeto in to replace Miazga. I mean, we didn't have Bupenza back then anyways. So is this roster that much different, at least on the terms of personnel, than it was when we were beating the shit out of Miami 6-1? I would say no. And I think, Kevin, I would agree. I think we've actually improved a little bit. To me, it's all the question of health on Lucho. But in terms of like roster build, I'm not like, sky's not falling for me. I'm just not there.
I can't unknow the fact that this team limped into Leagues Cup and looked pretty miserable for the majority of, outside of 15 of the most magical minutes ever. Well, I don't even like throw Leagues Cup out. What about the 3 matches before Leagues Cup? I don't know. It's like at the end of the day, look, your original point's right. If Lucho is healthy, this is where you got a puncher's chance just about any game you play. Is he healthy? That's really the threshold question for this team. And the number one goal has to be getting him healthy. Everything else starts with Lucho Acosta. And if he's not healthy and he's not playing well and he's not feeling well, this team's going to look a lot like it did in the 3 matches leading up to Leagues Cup. If they can get him healthy, I don't know. We'll see. But they're playing this on hard mode right now by doing it without, the U22 options that a lot of the teams have, and by doing it without the designated player striker, real designated player striker that we need.
He's a real designated player.
I hate it
here.
here.
Put up 4 against NYCFC without Lucho, and that gives me at least some hope that this team can figure it out in some stretches without Lucho, and maybe give him some rest to get him back at least close to 100% as we get into the crunch time of the season.
Yeah, I mean, those 3 games to end the regular season before Leagues Cup kicked off featured multiple red cards, Miles Robinson not being around, and Lucho Acosta being hurt and not playing. So, like, yeah, if that happens to this team, if you tell me going forward or in the playoffs, this team will be without Lucho and Miles Robinson, yeah, I'll tell you right now, probably a less of a chance to win the MLS Cup than if that wasn't happening. But if you give me those guys and you give me an upgraded center back in Cheeto, I think we've got a chance. I think we have a very good chance. And my evidence is all the rest of the season, like, that's still largely the same team. Matt Niazga for Cheeto is absolutely a downgrade, but it's not Kip Keller. So, like, we got a chance.
I was thinking about that last night, about how, I think I even put this in the Discord earlier, but like, I think I just need to stop expecting TAM center backs to all be like as good as Miazga.
Right.
And that if he was not like, if he wasn't how he is, he would just be a DP. So,
right.
So yeah.
We do have other speakers.
Thank you. I'll bow out.
Let people in.
Yep.
Yeah. Shwai, thank you so much. Jonah, you've joined. Feel free to come off of mute whenever you'd like, even if it's just to sing my praises, obviously.
Kevin is roasting you guys. I just want to say he's 100% right, 'cause he's agreeing with me. I will say before we take our caller here, I think every MLS fan kind of thinks every other team is better than they are, and their team is doing worse than they are. Because I think about any other team who isn't like one of the top 2 teams, and they're like, what are they talking about? Like, you go through like every result of the year, they're all kind of mediocre. And I don't think we've fallen down to the mediocre pit yet. We're still above that. If we hold on to a home playoff game, I think we're still good. Anything below that, you'll start to think that the year was kind of a failure. But if we hold on to that home playoff, one of those top 4 spots, if we drop below that, then maybe I'll join the Chief Sky is Falling bandwagon. So,
Pat, if you're in here, I need you to request to be a speaker.
So good.
That goes for any other media members who have not publicly mentioned the Discord on Twitter today.
Let's
let the guy talk.
Yeah. Eifert posting, I'm sure you have a real name, but that is what I will call you and your tiny dog. What do you got for us?
So this is going to sound like a rhetorical question, but it genuinely isn't. I don't know shit about this new guy. I assume some of you have watched St. Louis games. I guess my question would be, the problem that we've had isn't making opportunities, it's been finishing them. And I don't know, did this guy get the same quality of service in St. Louis as he would expect here? And does he have a history of kicking the ball 30 yards over the crossbar? Because I feel like what we need generally is for the ball to be underneath the crossbar when it's shot.
Is that the thing we're missing? It goes under the crossbar? Damn it.
That's what I've been told. I've been told it either goes between the posts, below the crossbar, or I think that's the only option.
Yeah. In the Discord, credit to Psychotic. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. He actually pulled up the Fot Mob comparison between New Friend and New Hotness and Old and Busted. So Corey Baird and Giacchini right here. Giacchini 24, Corey Baird 28, about the same size, about the same market value. Corey Baird appears to be a better player under most of these metrics in terms of last year in MLS for Baird, last year in MLS for Giacchini. Baird had more minutes played, more matches played. Giacchini had 2 more goals, slightly more expected goals, fewer assists, fewer expected assists. Giacchini did have more chances created, 31. He does seem to be basically an upgraded version of Corey Baird a little bit. In terms of the chances he finishes, his goal numbers aren't going to knock your socks off. But, I mean, St. Louis fell off pretty hard down the stretch last year, and they stopped scoring goals altogether. So I don't know that that's necessarily his fault. But I don't know. It's the problem with this team, and with any striker that you sign for this team, the biggest deal that you're going to need to know is how well does this guy work with Lucho? Like, if this guy is a Yamil Assad, where he is a Lucho whisperer, Lucho savant, then Lucho can make any player, if Lucho's healthy, a force multiplier, and make a player that otherwise doesn't have a lot of value in MLS good. But that's like, there's no rhyme or reason to that. Nobody would have expected that Yamil Assad could have his value unlocked in this way. If they knew that, he'd have been signed much earlier in the offseason. So that's like a big unknowable with this. And to a large extent,
change your mind about him at all if I told you that he appears to go by Nico?
Certainly easier.
Sounds like a pretty good striker, right?
Does he have a cousin Roman that always wants to go bowling?
Hey, that's a good reference. Man,
And I do want to point out, like, as the aforementioned Psychotic said again, a lot of St. Louis goals were scored under suspicious circumstances last year. So I would kind of like to know to what degree he benefited from any of those horrid mistakes.
One of those mistakes was Kip Keller, though. So that's got to count for something, right? Ivor, do you have anything else for us? Or we do have other people lined up.
Yeah, I guess the last thing I would say is if all that matters is does he have like the chemistry of Lucho or not, then if the alternative is not having a DP, I'd rather bring the guy in, roll the dice, see if he fits.
Yeah.
I do wonder if they asked Lucho about him.
What if they're planning on amputating his feet and like giving them to Lucho? That this is like like he's going to wake up in a Motel 6 in Sharonville with a note that says call police and his feet chopped off. It's like, what size shoe do you wear? Lucho? Aha, we have a match.
Are these the feet you would be going for?
Probably not.
That's the question. Redbeard, I will go to you next. It's just we have a new voice that has requested to speak. So you are technically in line, but I'm gonna jump you. Algan76, you have been requested here. We'll see what happens. I did post the FB ref chart which does not inspire confidence for the goal scoring side of things. So we'll see how it goes. Augen, what do you got for us? How are we doing?
I just wanted to say that two statements can definitely be true in this league. What Wallace is saying about our position in the table, repeating that. What I would point to in terms of trajectory is, if you remember last season, St. Louis could go into the playoffs and say, we're the top seed in the West. That's a true statement. The other true statement is, going into that, was there the expectation that they were going to make a deep cup run? What happened was Kansas City pretty well beat them convincingly, because when you limp in this league with the margins that they are, and I think that's a lot of the concerns that the Chief and probably a lot of us have, is you go in limping as a 3 seed compared to maybe peaking as a 4 or 5 seed. It's a different sense of momentum, and we're in a sort of nebulous, weird space right now where there's not a sense that we have a lot of good momentum in the trajectory. So yes, we are second in the East, but where we're going to end up in the playoffs and just a sense of who our matchup. Because my worry is we're going to get a 4th seed and we're going to play Red Bull, and I do not want that.
No.
Red Bull would be a tough draw. I knew I should have hung up on you before you provided the counterfactual there. That was a bummer. I really liked the first part of what you said.
When he was agreeing with you.
Yeah, that was sick. But wait, real quick. I just want to say, for whatever it's worth, and please mock this as much as you can, using FOTMob's XG table, FC Cincinnati is still second in the East and 5th in the Supporter Shield race. I will say that does make New York Red Bulls first in the East using their XG table. So you did pick maybe the perfect team to bring that up. I point that out because St. Louis was out of the playoff hunt using the same metric going into the playoffs as the top seed in the West. So I think it's a really good point. I would just say, I don't think we're at panic yet. Let's see how these next 9 games go. Maybe they're horrible and maybe we do genuinely look awful, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that. I'll say after the Columbus match, I'll have a more concrete feeling about how I feel about the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the hard part here, is that, you look at the rest of the season right now, and we're all going to get mad if this team loses to Columbus. We're all going to get mad if this team loses to Miami. But the reality of the situation is that this team just needs to get right for MLS Cup. And I don't know what they need to do that, because Kevin's ultimately right. There's a lot of players on this team, and the lineup was very similar when this team was playing well, and they're just not. They look awful going into Leagues Cup. They looked awful for long stretches, but it's the same players who were looking good a couple months ago that were responsible for that being bad. And whatever it is they got to figure out, they've got basically 2 months to do it. And once you sort of agree that they didn't bring the pieces in they need to win the Shield and grind out results in the regular season, it just becomes a question of getting healthy and figuring out how these pieces fit together again. And I don't know that they have an answer for that. And I think Pat is showing that by how different he's playing all these people, looking for some sort of an answer.
Yeah, and I think one thing is, since Albright arrived, one aspect is we constantly were making moves, improving this club. From the first year to the second year, there was a building sense. And that this feels a bit like a crest, and like we aren't upgrading in that sense of like you said, get that $10 million striker or something. Whereas bringing in Wobodo, bringing in Miazga, even bringing in Bupenza, those felt like we're making strides and moving towards the goal. And now it's a bit of feeling of you got what you got sort of sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, great contribution there, Augen. We're going to go back to good old Redbeard here coming in.
All right. Well, I apologize for the double dip, but you were literally asking for speakers. So
it's true.
My question here is basically every time Chris Albright works his magic, it makes somebody mad. And whether that's pro refs or the league disciplinary office or U.S. soccer, they tend to take out their feelings inappropriately by using their powers to thwart our success, and we succeed in spite of that. And so I guess my question is, how many games do you think Giacchini is going to miss this fall due to national team call-ups?
Man, what a great question.
How much does Pochettino like him? I mean, Pochettino, Giacchini, I'm seeing some connections here. I don't know, just based on vibes of the name alone.
Does Pochettino coming in make Lucho, speed up that citizenship process?
Does Nancy become the manager and then just call up every single U.S. men's national team fringe guy from FCC and wear them out? They all go full 90. As like a make good to Columbus.
Sure, why not? Just let's throw another monkey. Let's just throw another monkey wrench into this entire process right here. Just call them all up. Let's see what happens. Let's really test the depth.
I believe all the national team games coming up.
Yeah, and Poch is I think Poch is confirmed now. Jonas,
I see Hercules Gomez tweeting about him.
Is that happening tonight, or is that just a general?
They're saying the announcement's going to happen tomorrow. Is what people are saying
at 9 a.m. Maybe
9 a.m. Yeah. But I think all the national team games for the rest of the year fall in during breaks. So I don't think anybody's going to be missing any games unless they get injured on international duty.
They could make them tired, though. Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, he's going to need a lot of time to travel to that game against New Zealand at TQL. They'll call him in weeks before that.
Oh, I forgot that's happening, isn't it?
Get your tickets.
Chief, you might have tickets for it.
I definitely don't have tickets to
that one. Oh my God. Thank you, Redbeard. I'm going to move you back to the audience because, man, a name popped up on the speaker request list that I was actually just going to send a blind invite to if they didn't do it.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Post, what's going on? It's your boy Schwein from Jim Trace and the Makers. Hey, a couple cool announcements that the wonderful gentlemen over at the pod have been so gracious to allow us to promote on their airwaves. This Friday, August 16th, catch us, Jim Trace and the Makers, at Urban Artifact / Radio Artifact for a really cool event. It's a live and recording session over at Radio Artifact. They do these awesome events where 3 bands will play. They'll get a professionally recorded set. And we'd love to share it with you guys. Tickets are on our website, jimtraceandthemakers.com. They're $15 in advance, $20 at the door. And we would love for you guys to come out, support, say hi to us, talk about FCC, at least with me, and shoot the shit. Once again, it's going to be this Friday, August 16th, over at Urban Artifact / Radio Artifact. Tickets are $15 in advance, $20 at the door, and we'll be starting the show off at 8:15. Can't wait to see you there. And then another cool announcement to piggyback off one of my personal favorite sponsor of the Post, Streetside Brewery. We will be playing their birthday bash at the end of September on September 28th from 3 to 6 p.m. And so what better way to celebrate this unbelievable postcast by using your code to get $1 off your beer at Streetside Brewery and checking us out playing on their patio from 3 to 6 p.m. So once again, that's going to be September 28th. Looking forward to seeing everyone there, and keep on rocking. Thanks again, guys.
Let's welcome onto the pod.
Yeah, I think it's messed up that you guys forgot about the U.S. men's national team game because you aren't real American patriots. That's all
I am not. Have you seen this country?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Disavow.
Yeah.
So, Zach, how do you feel?
I feel fine.
As an individual,
I think, the strongest emotion that I feel is anger at all of the people who are being absolutely ridiculous about this window. That's the strongest emotion I feel. is that we addressed two pretty big needs. One with the player we've been targeting long term, who's a pretty high quality, and one in the DP slot we weren't going to use anyway to get some goals, hopefully. And people are still acting like we should have people's heads on pikes. I think that's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Ridiculous?
Ridiculous.
It's a fair point.
I think the number one thing, I'm pro Pat Brennan. You know, I'm not going to hide that. I'm a big Pat head. Pat did last year when I sent him a video of the airport celebration, tweet it without crediting me, and then it went nationally viral. And we were supposed to get a beer right around that time, and he canceled on me in shame and has never rescheduled. So Pat and I have still never met in real life, but I'm still a big Pat head, still a very big Pat guy. But I think Pat is right. This is Pat and Tom Bogert both. This is a solid window. It addressed needs. It wasn't what we all hoped it was going to be. It wasn't what the smoke signals made it seem like it was going to be. But the biggest thing between now and the end of the year is just what is Lucho going to look like when MLS Cup rolls around? Because this team, as it is built, both from a strategic and personnel standpoint, is built around Lucho Acosta. And if Lucho is going to be diminished, it does not matter what we did in this window. Period. I think it's really that simple. There are bigger things we could have done, and I think there's a lot of bigger things that they've worked on. I have less inside information than anybody. I actually was saying earlier in the Pride Board channel that despite being the president of the Pride and the chief of staff for a member of Cincinnati City Council, I'm pretty sure Jeff Birding doesn't actually know who I am by face. So we're all much less important. We're all much less important and plugged in than people may think we are. I know very little beyond what you guys know and read. But all the signals say that they worked on some pretty ambitious stuff. I don't want to cut them a total break for not getting it done, but sometimes when you're being ambitious, stuff's not going to get done. This is a weird league. It's a weird time of year in the calendar for a lot of other leagues. And also, when you're playing with players at that level, sometimes stuff's just going to go sideways. I'm disappointed that stuff didn't get done, particularly Weston McKennie, who I came on the pod earlier and basically told Chief why he was wrong when he was super negative about him. A thing that I do often, privately and publicly. Don't think you just be friends with people you agree with all the time, because I like Chief quite a bit, but I also consider blocking him on Twitter like at least once a week. But like not getting Weston done sucks. But at the same time, I don't know, they still managed a pretty solid window. Like I wouldn't say I'm not disappointed, but also we addressed two clear needs. The team has the players to have great results. As you guys said earlier, I'm gonna be honest, I've been in and out listening because I can only take so much before I have to like go for a walk or something.
I've also been in and out. It's fine.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel okay. I feel disappointed, but I feel fine. And that's not because I'm on the payroll. You know, that's just how I feel.
But he's not on the payroll.
I'm not on the payroll.
Okay.
You know, it would be helpful for my finances if I was. Unfortunately, I do all of this for free, despite all of my best instincts.
Zach, this is good perspective.
I still love you, Zach, even if you want to block me. You have permission.
I would never block you.
Let it sit.
I would never block you. The only people I have blocked on Twitter are Dave Portnoy, the Kent State Gun Girl, and Darren Ravel. That's it.
3 equal evils.
What a squad!
You need one more for a Mount Rushmore.
I also have the words Columbus, Crew, MLS, Pickle, and Nevada muted from various sports related reasons.
Pickle?
Fickle.
Oh, fickle.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking the food item. Okay.
I got real sick of seeing tweets about Mattress Mac making bets a while ago, so I muted him. I muted that as well. I don't care what some rich guy in Houston wants to bet.
I have one more blocked person, which will add to the chaos of the list, which is the Liver King. Because for some reason, I kept getting a bunch of targeted ads and promoted tweets from the Liver King into my feed, and I honestly have no idea why. and I couldn't take it anymore, so I had to go block him. So the Liver King, Kent State Gun Girl, Darren Ravel, and Dave Portnoy. That's my list of people I have blocked on Twitter. Chief, you could be the fifth head on Mount Rushmore if you put your mind to it.
I have now set my goal on what to do for the FC Cincinnati has its goals for the remainder of the season. I have my goals for the remainder of the season now.
Basically,
the funniest thing about Darren Ravel is he has like a huge collection of like Martin Luther King memorabilia.
That's right.
And every year on like MLK Day, he just like tweets about like all the little knickknacks that he has.
Yeah, I also blocked him.
Like an autograph collection.
Yeah, I blocked him for that, and also because he just tweets the JFK assassination every year, and I like don't want to see the man's head just exploded on my Twitter account at random once a year on a date that I don't even really remember most of the time, besides being the title of the Stephen King novel. Like other than that, I'm not gonna remember that day. I don't need to see JFK's exploded head on my feed once a year, so I blocked him. He's gone. He's out. See you later.
I actually blocked him too, just because I never wanted to respond to him after he got that one guy, fired from Northwestern or got somebody like kicked out of school or something like that. It's just like, I don't need to deal with people.
Big DCFC energy calling my place of work to try to get me fired for something I said on the internet.
That was a fun day at the office.
A lot of people take sports too seriously, but like Darren Ravel treats everything with the seriousness that you should apply to sports.
Yeah, he's somehow
he learned the wrong lesson.
Yeah.
He's somehow like chaotic evil in the opposite direction you would expect.
Oh my God, Zach! Thank you for coming on.
You're
thank
welcome.
you for speaking
Anytime.
Truth and common sense on this podcast.
Look, I'm happy to. I'll come on anytime you want when your guests bail on you at the last minute and you just need somebody who you know is available that can hop on a Zoom. You call me in and I'll give the people what they want or what they don't want. I don't know.
Just more of you. That's what they want.
Yeah.
Zach, thank you so much.
All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.
That was Zach.
He's gone. Just like that. We are pushing 2 hours. I think we should start thinking about final thoughts, how we're feeling as this evening. What a roller coaster ride this evening has been.
Pochettino is the U.S. men's national team manager. A transfer breaks midway through the recording. Man,
so fun.
Now we got to all wake up at 9 a.m. for this big announcement.
Is there video of him? What?
Nothing.
Oh, damn. But will the announcement feature Nico in TQL Stadium or in Cincinnati?
Probably not. This very much feels like something they got together at the very last minute to avoid a complete offer on transfer day.
And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, this is something that I don't get the sense that this was something that was in the works for long. Maybe it was, and maybe today was the day that they pushed over the finish line with, I don't know, what do you even add to make a loan happen? Like, what would be the sticking point on a half-season loan?
I mean, he's a DP, so
it's like
might have been
the portion of his salary that you're covering. And then whether you're, paying any compensation to his team, like the loan fee, right?
Yeah. But if he's going to be a DP, none of that matters. You could have just written a check and just gotten it done a couple weeks.
They probably did.
Yeah. But you could have done this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, gotten it done. If this was where we're going to end up.
Damn.
Final thoughts, I guess. I don't know.
Here, Chief, give me a number. Give me a number between 1 and 20 or 1 and 200.
Are we asking questions right now? There we go.
The book of questions. This is how we're going to end this.
Yeah.
It felt appropriate.
144. And just, I guess my final thoughts on all this are, we'll see. I don't think I don't think the team got materially better with his signing. It didn't get worse. It's better than nothing. And we will see how it turns out. No idea. That they certainly didn't add anyone that was impactful this window. And we'll see if that changes.
Cheeto.
Oh, Cheeto. Yeah, no. But like I just
Nico might be impactful. We don't know. Think about all the surprises
we'll see.
That are await you in the future. Yeah. Life is just full of possibilities. Wake up every morning, greet every day, like you don't know what's gonna happen, and you might have, a million delightful little things happen to you throughout the course of the day. You come to a game, who knows what's gonna happen, right? But every game is an opportunity to win.
Yeah.
And every time he touches the ball, opportunity to score.
And I guess the other thing that's worth pointing out with him is, and this is brought up in the chat from Logan T, there's no buy option. So he's gone in January by all accounts.
Unless they just negotiate an extension.
Which
I don't know. He feels like a key part of their team and future plans.
I know we've been talking to Weston McKennie and Josh Sargent, but hear me out. We need to make Nico a part of our team long term.
So we really do need him to do well, because if he performs well enough to get back into the U.S. men's national team picture, that's the pitch to all of the rest of these guys.
I don't know. We'll see.
So you legally have to root for him now.
I know.
Sure you do. Legally.
I'm legally obliged to root for him.
So Grayson is optimistic and glass half full. Chief
glass is full.
Zen. Oh, the glass is full.
Glass is full.
Chief
and that's the nice thing about optimism is you can keep your glass full all the time. You take some drinks, it fills itself back up.
That's a good cup of Kool-Aid right there. Chief is zen about the impending failure. That's good. That's
just everyone that's happy right now. Same energy after Columbus, and we'll see what happens.
But what if we win, though?
What if we win? What if
Nico scores the game winner, an assist from Kevin Kelsey? We keep the clean sheet, and we go, my God, Albright and Noonan, they've done it again.
They call him crew killer Gioacchini.
I'm just saying, Kevin Kelsey's first goal for FCC. Does anybody remember who it was against?
Columbus Crew.
Of course, it was Columbus Crew. Come on now.
Yeah. I'll tell you, like, again. Here, I would honestly almost feel better if he wasn't a DP striker for this reason, is that the record with signing DP strikers for this team is abysmal, but like they're kind of okay when they sign non-DP strikers.
So if you signed a kind of DP striker.
A kind of DP striker? Is that like...
We finally threaded the needle. This is it. This is how we win. Oh my God. Yeah, there you go, Chief. You gave us the number, so I'll finish this up.
In Albright, we trust. I guess we'll see.
We demand accountability, though. This is good. This is good. I'm gonna spin this around. A close friend asks and genuinely wants your opinion about something, but your opinion is one that they are likely to find quite painful. For example, your friend is an artist and asks for honest estimates of his chances of being successful. You think he is an atrocious artist who hasn't the slightest chance of success. What would you do? Or put another way, if Chris Albright was here and genuinely truly wanted the Chief and Grayson's feedback on how this window went, what would you tell him?
I'd want to ask questions. Like, your friend shows you the art, and it's like, okay, so cool. Do you want to be an artist? Because like that, maybe
that's a good first question.
Did you mean to do this?
Is this yours or is your kids? That's neat. Was that on the fridge growing up? Yeah, no. If Albright was right here, if he was in the room right now with us, I'm not gonna talk shit about him. His record speaks for itself. He's been very, very good at his job. I would want to know, is he satisfied with how the window turned out? Does he think he did a good job in this window? Does he think there's anything he could have done better? If he could change anything, would he have changed anything about what happened? And like, what is the plan? Like, what do you see as the win scenario for this year? Is the win scenario for this year that Nico is a depth piece that is the kind of person we were missing off the bench against Crew in the Eastern Conference Finals, who could have put this team over the top? Is the idea here that we think we're a better team than we've shown in the last 5 weeks or so, and we just need to get everybody healthy? I don't know. Like, you ask questions. I think that whenever you have an uncomfortable thing to say to someone, I think that you just don't say it because that's just an asshole move. I think you ask questions and see if you can talk about something that leads everyone to have the same realization. And I think that would be the same thing I would do with Albright right here. And I would welcome having Chris on, or welcome him doing something like that, just because I'm curious where his head's at and where he thinks about this team. And, you know, if they were being ambitious in this window, and, you know, I believe they were. I believe they were trying to be ambitious. I believe they were trying to get some of these signings done. Is there a regret? Did you shoot too close to fly too close to the sun and fall back down? Did you learn anything about what's going on here? Is that still the plan long term? I don't know. But to the artist question, the uncomfortable thing, you ask questions and you talk is how you handle situations like this, I think.
I like it. I had a teacher who would ask when you turn in, I don't remember, it was art teacher or a paper, they'd ask, is this the best representation of your best effort? And sometimes you just take it back when you get asked that question. You go, actually, no, this is a terrible representation.
No. Try this again.
Grayson, are you speaking truth to power when it comes to your shitty artist friend?
No, I would just be nice.
Okay.
To echo, I mean, it's not. I'm not going to make or break this person's career. Like, I don't own an art gallery. Like,
that's a surprising fact people are learning about you right now.
Actually, I'm shocked by this.
I'm not in a position to, like, you know, make this person an artist. I got nothing writing on it. If it makes them happy to keep making their little paintings, that's great.
They would love it if you said that.
I just think it's wonderful when people do things, whatever it is, you know, just people doing things. Yeah, same with Albright. You know, he undeniably did some things this window, and you know, maybe they're
little signings,
and they might be good. So, and I will tell you, I guess something Chief said. If Chris Albright asked nicely, we would let him on the podcast. It would be the softest interview you'd ever heard.
Oh, like coach,
we are talking
dad pitch softball. Like, we're just trying to let the kids have a good at bat.
We are talking Trump on Fox and Friends. Like, you have no idea. You have no idea.
It would be our second interview with Chris Albright. Least we forget, we got to interview him when he first showed up in town. So,
and Kevin asked him about like Nintendo Power or something.
Look, it was a good, relevant question.
Yeah, if only you'd have been better prepared, you could have asked him, like, okay, now a couple of years from now, you're going to have a dilemma about a transfer window.
How do you feel about getting Apple TV to help sign U.S. men's national team players? Jesus. All right. Well, hey, I do want to say thank you to all 12 listeners for being able to join us live here on Discord. This was a new idea for us. I think it went fairly successfully.
So thank you for the club employees for attending as well.
Yes,
yeah, and members of the media,
the club employees help pack out the rest of the numbers there. If this is something you want to see more of, like I said, like I have a dream of just doing this after matches. That would be awesome. If anybody is interested in that, let me know. Or if this was terrible, feedback is always welcome here. I appreciate all 12 of you. This was really fun. And if you listen to it this far, you're off the hook for tomorrow. So thank you. Actually, we'll see if this ends up being a live thing. This is a whole new recording process I have over here. God, I hope it worked. So
we shall see.
You might have been the only people that heard it. So that'll be fun. But otherwise, God bless you all. No, I hit the recording button. It's just a matter of what I recorded. So thank you all.
We shall see. I guess we got like 10 days to kill till the next episode or till the next game, right?
Till the next game. We'll probably have an episode before then.
Probably will, but we'll see. I guess in the interim, go fuck yourself, San Diego.
A better prepared podcast would have had the music right there.
Yeah,
I don't have it. Actually, wait. I have the Discord music.
No one else can hear that.
I can hear it.
Hey, sincerely, thanks to everybody for listening, hanging out, dealing with us as I process my personal trauma in front of everyone as a live audience. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. I love doing this show. I love doing it with Kevin and Grayson, and it has legitimately been so much fucking fun. And we couldn't do it without the guys' support. Share the podcast, share the takes. You got anything you want to hear from us that you want us to do, movies to review, anything like that? We're here for you guys, and we want to make sure you guys have a good time. I love the little community that we built today and the number of people that were just posting the most unhinged shit on the Discord. So thank you guys so much. I love you guys all.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Cincy Postcast. It is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out at thepostcincy.com or just click a link in the description to check out some of our written work. It also has links to our social media accounts across all sorts of different platforms, including YouTube, where we are trying to do more and more video content. Please, dare I say it, like and subscribe and leave a comment. But no, that would be really, really helpful. I also want to give a thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers. They're a local Cincinnati band who provided all of the music for this episode. We love having them on board. You can check them out. Again, link in the description of this episode to find out where they might be playing shows next or where you can listen to more of their music. Also want to give a massive, massive thank you to the awesome and very attractive patrons over on Patreon. It is a voluntary subscription that people take out with no real promise of anything extra that keep this show afloat. And we are so, so thankful to those of you that have decided to take that commitment. If you do like the show, or at least just want to engage with other people who have listened to the show and want to talk about FC Cincinnati, MLS, soccer, or really anything else, you can go on over to Discord. Again, link in the description. Lots of links in the description where you can find a link to the Discord. That's where we are keeping the conversation going 24/7. It feels like it's a really fun group of people in there just talking about FC Cincinnati and, like I said, just about everything else. And finally, I'll say it. If you liked this episode, and given the fact that you've made it all the way to the end, I have to assume you either like it or for some reason cannot reach the stop button. Please share this episode with a friend or family member or someone who likes FC Cincinnati. The best way for us to grow is from a personal recommendation from somebody who likes it. And if that's you, please tell other people. And if you don't have any friends, feel free to give us a review on whatever your podcast platform of choice is. We'll take anything we can get. But again, a huge, huge thank you to everybody for listening to the show. I am blown away that anybody listens to this. So again, I well and truly mean this. Thank you so much for listening.